boom, it explodes. Brian Thien, Jana Mayan, and then Brian Iguchi. Like, I'm going to die right here. This is it. Up like this with my board in the air. You could be just a butthole.
What's up with cat butts with you, man?
Can I borrow your face? And I've got like pregnant prune juice belly. I'm Speedo bound. Who needs college? I was so good at GoldenEye. Peeling his eyelids up above his forehead. From the depths of hell comes one man.
The legendary Bobby Meeks.
1, 2, 3, 4.
He's no one, she's no one, we're no one.
Okay, what's up, everybody? Hello, welcome to the Co-Pro podcast powered by Nemo Design. My name's Scotty Keating. Kind of stepping in here for the legendary Trevor Graves on this one. And so these podcasts, we've been, really focused on interviewing artists, community leaders, athletes, people who stand for this idea of collective progression. My first guest, he really embodies this notion. It's an unbelievable joy for me and honored to be with him here today. He's a professional snowboarder, a skateboarder, husband, high diver, a star of the robot films, currently, the VP of Sales and Marketing at We Are Camps and Y East Mountain Academy. My dear friend, the legendary Bobby Meeks. Bobby, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Happy to be here on the couch. I've heard of the tan couch before. I think this is where Vilay's sat. Here I am.
Yeah,
pretty
awesome.
psyched.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I think your story is very similar to the Nemo story. Started from nothing. You got scrappy. You followed your heart, your passion, your love, and you made your dreams into something. So it's an amazing journey, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I made something out of it, which is good. I mean, the alternative would have been worse, I guess. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited to be where I am, considering the hurdles that I've experienced in life. But, at the end of the day, they're not that bad. I mean, when it comes down to it, people experience a lot worse than I did and somehow make it through or don't. But, I don't know. I guess I'm fortunate. So
well, you're sitting here.
I appreciate it.
And you weigh 165 pounds. You're perfect. You're doing good.
Well, I actually weigh 158 pounds. Oh. Jay over there is trying to put weight on me, and that's not on me today, buddy.
So, traveling the world as a professional snowboarder, 10-year career at Nike, launching the Nike Snowboarding brand, then off to managing DC Snowboarding, and really bringing your career full circle and giving back to the youth. With your role at We Are Camp. So really, really cool story, and it's really amazing to watch. It's awesome. So you grew up, right, in the mean streets of Fontana, California. I think I read somewhere that you had a gang or you ran a gang. Can you crip walk?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't actually have a gang, but when I moved to Fontana when I was 14 years old, but and that's kind of like, at that age, you kind of, that's kind of, I feel like, where you really develop in that age, and that kind of really, I don't know, just kind of identified me moving forward in a way. But before that, I lived in Westminster, Stanton Garden Grove area in Southern California, and at that time, when I was young, I was quite the troublemaker and class clown, and I kind of poked the wrong bears, and this gang called what they were like the Pee Wee West 13 Pee Wees or whatever. I don't know. They were not happy with me at all, and they chased me home from school for about 3 weeks. But I was so much faster than them that it didn't matter. I turned around and I'd do some shimmies and climb over some fences, and it was just like these kids trying to, I don't know. They were smaller than me, but there was a lot of them. Yeah. And then eventually it finally kind of came to an end in PE class, and after that everything was all good. Nice. We were all homies after that.
Did they make you get a tattoo?
Nope. Didn't get a tattoo. That wasn't until later in life, but yeah, I could have I could have got an honorary tattoo. That'd have been nice.
So skating around Fontana, like what? How did that bleed into snowboarding and your professional snowboarding career?
Skating. Well, for one, Fontana, that at the time, like Fontana is actually like a hotspot for skating now. It's like they got some great parks there. But when I was there, we just had a street. Like, we didn't have anything. We had ditches and a street. And so I don't know like how that really, I guess in a way it kind of translates to snowboarding just because it kind of prepared me for snowboarding. But I was skating one day outside this apartment complex in Southridge where we lived, and I ran in. There was this girl who was like super hot who was hanging over this balcony of these apartments, and she's like just started like kind of talking to us, like flirting with us kind of in a way, and she was much older than us, so we were always like, whoa, what's going on? And then she ended up inviting us up into the house, and we were like, what is happening right now? This is crazy. And so we went in, but then there was these two guys that were in there. They were brothers, twins actually, and Ron and Rodney.
Ron and Ronnie?
Yeah, and they actually ended up being pretty cool. They were like, I'd say they were probably about 21, 23 maybe at the time, and they just kind of, in a way, I don't know how it happened, but like all of a sudden, like we were just homies, like we were all friends, and we were younger than them by quite a bit, so they used to get us into the bars and take us to Mexico and all kinds of stuff, and it was pretty nice. But they also were the first people who enabled me to see snowboarding. I had never been skiing. I had never been to the mountain. I've been to the mountains and seen snow before, and went like sledding or something. But I had never seen the actual snowboarding or even heard of it. And so when I went,
what year was this?
That was in 1990.
90.
No, maybe 89.
Yeah.
And I had never even heard of it, and I basically went skiing that one night. They took me skiing, and I saw snowboarding, and I was like, "What is that? That looks. Why is that? How's that guy skateboarding right now? Like that's kind of where it just kind of clicked in me. I don't know. It set something off. I mean, long story short, that was it.
Amazing. And when's the first time you went snowboarding? Night riding, right?
It was night, yeah. And actually, the first time I went, I didn't even buy a lift ticket. I just went to Mountain High, and I just hiked. I literally hiked up the mountain. I didn't even clip it. I didn't even know what that was at the time. So I just literally hiked up just to see if I could even do it.
Yeah.
And then it was funny. Like I hiked up, and I was like, I caught on really fast. I, like instantly, was already could turn, and I mean, it was very similar to skateboarding and like, skating ditches and everything. It was in transition, so it wasn't a big learning curve. But then, yeah, and after a few times, then I was like, oh, like the lift thing is like serious clip. I think I may have clipped a few at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
clipping lift tickets, and then what we do is you get the clipped lift ticket, you turn the heater way up in the car,
and
you hold it against the lift ticket against the heater. And then the glue would melt, and you unpeel it, and you get a new wicket, put it back on.
Man, I wish it was as easy as now. You've got like Face ID and like all kinds of stuff. You're like, can I borrow your face? I'll sell you my face for $10.
So you're riding Mountain High on the Mogul Monster. It's 1991-ish. 1990.
Yep.
And then you really get into it and move to Bear.
Yeah. So. And so I joined the ski and snowboarding team, and that like really enabled me to like go on trips and stuff. So I ended up actually going on trips more than I rode locally. So
like bus trips with school.
Yeah. And then I met this guy Phil. I forget his last name at the time, but Phil Jones, I think. And he did this LA ski and sun tours, and so he was like, at the time, he's like, dude, you're ripped. Like you want to ride for us? And I was like, sure. I don't know what. Like, do I get on free trips? He's like,
what does that mean?
You don't get free trips, but we'll give you discounted trips. And I was like, I'm in. And so it was pretty interesting. It was like myself, and then there's this guy Darius Jones that we knew, and then Brian Iguchi was on it as well. So that's how I met Brian, was doing high school trips.
Cool.
Yeah. And so he's like, yeah, we have this other guy named Brian. He's he's much better than you, but yeah,
He's way better.
Yeah,
but get on the bus.
You're almost there. Like when I met Brian, like I think the second trip we ever went on, like he was already trying double backflips.
Wow.
He was like, I'm gonna try a double backflip, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I didn't even know it was possible. I was like, are you serious? But yeah, so that was like through
That's
high
pretty
school.
legendary, right? Like you and Iguchi and
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. I mean, I didn't know at the time. I think
Yeah.
Brian was already sponsored at the time. He wrote for like Checkered Pig. Like it was. I don't know. He was already really good. And then anytime I was like going snowboarding, I was just always ditching class. I didn't have a car, and I was
Yeah.
ditching class and everything. But then the
you ever hitchhike up there?
I did not hitchhike, but I have picked up some hitchhikers. But no, so I wasn't hitchhiking, but I did. I would find ways to get up there.
Yeah.
And I think at that time I did start to get a car. I got like my grandmother passed away or whatever, and then they, instead of giving it to the junkyard, they gave it to me.
Nice.
So that was good. Thanks, Grandma.
Yeah.
But I would just like drive up to Bear, and then eventually I got that diving gig, and that was a summer thing. And then so I was like, oh well, what am I doing in the winter? I'm like, I don't want to go back to school. And so I just got a job at the resort as a sanitational technician.
And was it Bear or Summit was the go-to at that time?
The go-to was Bear.
Bear.
Yeah.
Bear. Cool.
Bear Mountain was the spot at the time. It was I'd say it was the most progressive park in the world.
Yeah.
With my Perillo,
Yeah.
spearheading that whole park. I mean, outlaw park. I mean, kids nowadays, they don't really understand like how impactful that was on snowboarding, that
Yeah,
park.
It was amazing.
And it was just amazing. They put together lines that and leading into a pipe. It was like a park that like was pretty condensed and tight, but in the top of it had what would basically a bank slalom course. But the bank slalom, imagine a bank slalom course, but like the turns are like 8 feet deep, and you're just like, and they're almost vert.
Yeah,
And it was
big
just
trenches.
like so fun.
That's
You
cool.
rip through that, and then you had the park. But it was like it was like kind of like in a way like how the Finns just progressed so fast, because they just rode Talma, which is like quick, like back and forth, like tow rope. It was kind of like that because it has its own chairlift, and so we would just ride that every single day.
That's
like boom,
great,
boom.
yeah.
You'd get like, I don't know, 100 something laps in for the
Yeah.
day.
Well, I was living back east watching that go down and very jealous of all of those parks.
Yeah, there was just a ton of good people that came out of that era and that park. So I was really fortunate to experience that.
And that's where you got your first sponsor, yeah?
Yeah, actually, I did get my first sponsor there. Besides
Or board sponsor, we'll call it.
first board sponsor, yeah. I did. I was actually riding one day, and this was actually even before I moved up there. I was just starting to think about that, but I was riding just by myself one day, and I, just doing some line that I always did, and then I hear this like, hey, like somebody's yelling at me, and I'm like, what the? Turn around, and it's this guy, and he rolls up to me, and he's just like, hey, what's your name? I was like, it's Bobby. He's like, you want to ride for us? I was like, what? Like it was like that quick. It was like not even like it was super quick. He was just like, yo, my buddy has a shop called H2O. It's not the board sponsor. It was H2O.
It was H2O.
It was the shop sponsor. And he's like, yeah, you want to ride for us? And I was like, again, all right. I mean, at this time, like, I'm like, what do you get? Stickers or
You gonna
something?
pay
I'm
me?
like, I don't know. What's that even mean? Like at that point, you see the pros and stuff in the magazines, and you see all the videos and stuff. But like when you're actually introduced to it, and at that era where you didn't have your phone, you didn't have any of that stuff. You just had like the videotape that you plugged in. It was like you didn't really know what it meant. And so like the sponsored thing wasn't like if you were building your sponsor tape, you were like basically like. It was on a VHS, so it turned out to be a really good connection. Like the guy Vipe who owns the store, super cool dude, still down there. I think H2O's gone now, but he was in the industry for quite some time.
Cool.
It might still be. But Bill Keller ended up kind of shaping my career, who was the guy who like came up to me. And he was responsible for me getting on H2O, and then he immediately, I believe he got me on Barfoot. And then from Barfoot, he started repping, and the Barfoot thing was funny because like I rode for Barfoot, but it was like I was a rep rider, and would literally call Chuck.
Chuck
I would
Barfoot.
call Chuck Barfoot and call him, and I would be like, Chuck Barfoot, this is Bobby. Can I get another board? And he'd be like, dude, I just gave you a board. He's like, you get one board. And I'm like, I know, but it's blown out. The edge is like 3 inches
pretty
away from the
awesome.
base. But yeah, so he hooked me up, and I rode for him for a minute for Barfoot. I just thought it was rad.
What year was that?
That was in 92.
92. John Boyer? John Boyer?
Yeah, I had
rode
a
for
John Boyer.
Yeah, John
And
Boyer.
it was like, dude, the nose and the tail on that board were like vert ramps. It was like crazy. And the best thing is you could cruise around and ride in like, at this time, it was pretty tense against skiers and snowboarders. So you would ride around in front of skiers, and you just kind of give a little back toe in like that, and it would shoot the biggest rooster into the skier's face, like just every time. It was like one of the funnest things to do.
Yeah, that was a crazy shape, that John Boyer.
Yeah, it was. And then we cut the nose and
Yep,
tail
yep.
off, and then we T-nutted them, and it still was like, little tips, but
Yep.
they're pretty verty. But then, but Bill Keller ended up, he ended up going on this new company called 5150, and then I saw him one day, and he was like, dude, do you want to ride for 5150? And I was like, sure. Yeah, I'm definitely down. Like, he told me he was riding this. It was the time they had these like Sea Monkey boards, and they were real textured top sheets, and it was like something new and different, capped boards in the industry. And it was like, yeah, sure, that sounds great.
Great.
I'm not hardly getting any boards from Barfoot, might as well. And then he and that ran its course. That was the first sponsor that ever paid me, though.
Oh, 5150.
Yeah, 5150. They gave me $500 a month so I could pay rent.
So now you're a pro snowboarder.
Exactly. I was like, dude, but I was so appreciative of the fact that I was getting money. I could not believe that I was getting paid to do that.
Go snowboarding.
Yeah, for snowboarding. And then eventually I rode for them for a little bit. I had a small ad with them. It was like my first ad ever. And then I saw Bill again, and he was repping for Joyride at the time. And I think didn't talk to him about it the first time, but at some point he never mentioned anything to me, but I was like, dude, what's up with Joyride? And they were just hot at the time. Like, they came in, they had Roan, and they had all these, and Dale, and everyone was on there, and it was just like they came in. They were just such the brand to be on. And he's like, do you want to be on Joyride? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I didn't think you wanted to be. He was like, with 5150 starting. I'm like, dude, I'll ride for Joyride in a heartbeat. And then like instantly, like, he's like, you're on. I'll talk to him tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And I just didn't think anything of it. And then sure enough, he calls me the next day. He's like, hey, you got to come into the office. And so I sat down with Ken Greengard and the crew, and like had my first meeting with them. And they're like, okay, yeah, so we're welcome to the team.
You're on.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then they actually were like, all right, you're making enough to live. And then the best thing on that one was that I didn't even know. They were like, hey, you're sponsored. And I was like, cool, I'm on the team. I'm on Joyride. This is amazing. And Dale and Roan and those guys had left. It was just Jason Carragher. They all bailed out at that point. But then they just were like, so what do you want on your snowboard? What do you want it to be?
You're getting a pro model.
Yeah, a pro model. And I was like, what?
Surprise.
And I tried to play it cool. I tried to be like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about that. But
you got a pro model.
yeah, it was like a fast track for that. So I was like pretty psyched.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I owe all that journey
Yeah.
basically to Bill Keller.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So Amped 2, you're in Amped 2 as a player.
Yes, I was in Amp 2
Yeah.
as a player, and I was in Amp 1 actually too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that one was the
What was what was like the process of being in a video game? Like, what?
Dude, it was kind of crazy. It's different now,
Yeah.
but like at that time, it was pretty raw. Like, we basically like, it's funny because the first one they just were like, "Hey, you're in. We just need to get photos of your face or whatever," and that's kind of all it was. But then the second one, they did all this body motion stuff, and it was like literally, I'm not joking. It was like the front boards in like that game are me.
That's
Like,
awesome.
I don't know
Did
if
you have
it's
the little balls all over?
yeah.
you?
So we had like a wetsuit. We were in a warehouse. They had like it was like a garage. It wasn't even like a warehouse. It was like a weird garage, like a large garage thing. But it was like they used shaved ice. It was like bags and bags of shaved ice on this this area that they had.
They could have went to a hockey rink.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, that would have been easier, but it was like shaved ice in this like little baby pool thing that they had made, and you had a drop-in ramp, and then there was a rail, and that was it. And then we had these black wetsuits on. They were literally a wetsuit that you zipped up, and then they put these little white ping pong balls all over you in little certain spots, and then they're like, all right, go hit it.
And then they're filming you. Yeah.
Yep, yeah, and it was. I mean, there's cameras all around you, 3D, for the most part.
How many times did you hit that rail? Just over and over, every trick.
Over and over,
Yeah.
over and over and over. But it's like it's like awkward. It's not like it doesn't feel as natural. You're like, and you kind of know it.
Round rail, flat bar.
It's a round rail.
Round rail.
But you know it like you're being filmed too in a way. So you're like trying to like really style it out for the most part. So sometimes it felt a little unnatural. But but that stuff was super cool. I don't know if they ended up being me with the front board or whatever, but like I had to do every trick that I knew.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a lot at the time, but there was a front board in there and a back lip. So
That's awesome. How'd they capture like airs? Like
the air thing was
your front five.
I didn't do airs. It was only the
Rail part.
rail part. Yeah.
Was it weird to like play yourself when you got the game? You're like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah. To be honest, it's gonna sound like I'm lying, but I didn't really. Yeah, it's just that was weird.
Yeah.
I didn't really play myself at all. And then also too, I just thought it would be funny to do something different with the like the mock Lakers jersey.
Yeah.
Versus like everybody else who
You
was
love
like
the Lakers.
all
You're a big Lakers
they
fan.
were all dialed up in like snowboard stuff, and I was just like, I just want to do something different, like be different. So
That's good. You're a big gamer yourself, huh? I was talking to Tyler Morton last weekend, and he said you broke more Nintendo 64 controllers than anyone he's ever met.
Dude,
What's up with the hockey temper, man?
I was so good at GoldenEye, so good at it that it used to really annoy me when I lost. If there was some
GoldenEye was the game.
Yeah, I had a hot temper on that. But yeah, GoldenEye was like one of the first like first person like almost like a team deathmatch type deal.
Yeah.
It was that was
He's
dude.
like,
I had this.
I've never seen so many N64 controllers be thrown across the room.
But it was such a community thing. It was like awesome. Everyone would come over to my house. Most of the time, it was like when I was hurt.
Yeah.
So I'd have like a blown out knee or something like that, and we would just all sit around. And I had bought this like flat screen back projector TV that you like see it like people who are like loaded have this TV in like the 60s or something, but like it's so old and crappy. It worked, but it was like color and like it was back projection, pretty big. And so that everyone would just come over to my house and we would just play this game over and over and over until
You'd get mad and break it.
Oh yeah, and we would play until like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Like it
And
was
GoldenEye only. That was it.
GoldenEye.
Yeah.
The Perfect Dark came out. Mario Kart was pretty good
Yeah.
too, but mostly it was just Mario Kart.
What are you playing now?
GoldenEye,
What games are you playing now?
I'll play. It just depends on like. I just got done with Indiana Jones,
Ooh.
which was sick actually. It was like playing like a full movie for like being in a movie for pretty much a month and a half.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was epic. But I've been playing a lot of like Warzone and Call of Duty stuff. It's just so fun because it's like all of your friends from everywhere. We don't live next to each other anymore.
Yeah,
None of my friends.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I got friends in California and Florida and everywhere, and then we all just come together and it's like, oh yeah, Wednesday 8:00. All right, let's do this, and you get to like catch up and
That's cool. Good.
yeah, it's like going to a bar but without the bar part.
So now we're in Utah. You're kind of in it. You're a pro snowboarder, traveling the world, filming, shooting photos, signing autographs. Right? You rode for Barfoot,
Yeah.
5150, Joyride. You got a pro model, surprise.
Yeah.
And that second pro model, like that second board graphic. I think we have it right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really meaningful graphic. And you were a fucking high diver, dude. You're a carny. I want to hear all about the carny life. You were high diving 82 feet into a cup of water on fire, dude. Like what? We need to know everything, dude. What's up?
Well, I mean everything. I don't know if you want to know everything. I'll summarize it for you a little bit. But basically, I dove in high school. I almost didn't because I didn't want to wear the Speedo. And I just was like, I so whack. Why do you have to wear the Speedo thing? But like I took, what was it? Ceramics. I had ceramics. And one of the guys, the star diver from our high school, was good in ceramics. And he used to come in and just use our class every once in a while. Like, oh yeah, I'm just in here doing it. And I was like, one day I was just like, dude, how do you do that trick where you jumped and you went reverse or whatever? And he's like, oh, a back dive, like a reverse dive? And I'm like, yeah, that, whatever. And he's just like, well, this is how you do it, but why don't you just join the diving team? And I was like, he's like, I've seen you out there jumping around. And I was like, to it. And then I was like, yeah, but the Speedo thing. And he's like, dude, it's only weird if you're not wearing them because everyone else is wearing them. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I was like, I'm in. All right, I'm Speedo bound. But yeah, so that was like it definitely deterred me my first year, and then I dove 2 years in high school, and then I went to college. I already talked about that. To my diving coach was our junior high, our junior college coach as well. And one day he brought me into his office and was like, dude, what's up, man? You're failing all of your classes. You can't seem to come to school. And I was like, yeah, I know. I've been doing this. He's like, well, check it out. I just got this in the mail. It's a letter from a professional diving company that does dive shows at Magic Mountain and Six Flags parks all over the world. And he's like, this is the first year you can dive in college and be eligible to do it. You should try out and maybe you'll learn something. Cool. And I was like, yeah, all right. Yeah. So then I actually tried out for it. I went to Magic Mountain one day and talked to the guy, and he was just like, yeah, if you're coming out, you should, bring your suit and come jump on the boards. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, all right, cool, yeah, whatever. I'm like, what do you mean by jump on the boards, like, out there? I'm like, as soon as I walked into the Magic Mountain, there is a ladder in the clouds. I was like, dude, I am not ever going to climb up that thing. Are you kidding me?
There's no ropes, or you're not connected. You just climb.
You're just in a Speedo.
And you're kind of wet. Like.
Yeah, you're in a Speedo and some thing. And I'm like, no way. And not only that, it's in front of like thousands of people. Yeah. And then also there's like sea lions and dolphins. And
in the
salt
pool?
Water. Yeah, they're in the pool. They're in the corner of they're all their side of the pool or whatever. But they're it's salt water, super cold, and I was just like, no way. But I ended up. Long story short, I ended up getting the job. The guy was like, he's like,
So you ended up climbing up and jumping?
I just dove. I just dove and that stuff. I like literally didn't get higher. I went up to 10 meter, and that was the highest I got. But that was like the most terrifying climb I've ever done. At that time in my life, I had never climbed anything scarier than that. Crazy. But I was just doing it for the job. You know, I'm like, I'm just doing it. All right, I'm going for it. So I climbed up there, and as I did some stuff off of it. Nothing crazy. I'd been to a 10 meter before, but like diving pools, totally different, dude. This is like literally a little thin ladder to get up to to get up to 10 meter platform that's above concrete and everything else. Like if you fall, you're like, that's it. And so I was climbing on that thing, and then I did a couple things, and he's like, I'm going to be pretty honest with you. You're a pretty shitty diver. He's like, but I see a lot of potential in you, so I'm gonna hire you for like $70 a day or whatever it was. And I was just like, all right, I'm in.
So you've got a snowboard career, and now you're a professional high diver.
Yeah, in a way, it was kind of like funny because my snowboarding career hadn't totally developed at the time. It was like in sync with that, and so I mean, in a certain way, I actually was a professional diver before I was a professional snowboarder, because when I got that job diving, I had free summers, and my summers were free to go do whatever, and I got paid for it. And so that way it enabled me to like, what am I doing in the winter? And then that's why I got a job at the resort, is because, I can go snowboard and I can just get a job at the resort. Yeah. Who needs college? Yeah. I got diving and I got snowboarding. It's fine. Yeah. But anyway, so like that happened, and then so I dove at Magic Mountain for like a month or so. Then they shipped me off to like Six Flags over Georgia, and it was cool because I actually dove with some actual real divers. I was a okay diver. I was like a skateboarder diver. I like wasn't like a like, oh, I grew up in Mission Viejo and my family's affluent family, and we,
You were a stunt
you know,
man.
I had like used Speedos basically. Like I was that kind of guy. So I had to save up to buy my Speedos. But yeah, so like I just wasn't a good diver. I mean, I was good. I got fourth at state.
That's pretty good.
You know, they give you
Fourth
a
state.
thank you, like a, hey, thanks for trying medal. You know, like that's what I got.
I mean,
And-
fourth state of California. California's pretty big.
Yeah, but you know, I was also, like I said, like I was the my coach in high school was a water polo coach who like got hit in the face with the water polo ball so many times that he couldn't smell anymore.
Oh, God.
Like he has never even touched a diving board. He was like, and admits it. He's just always, we'd go to diving meets and he'd be like, hey, go ask that other coach over there how to do this trick. Or like go get pointers from those guys. It was like amazing. He was great though, but he didn't know much about diving. So like when I got a chance to dive with these real divers, I learned a lot really fast. Like I went from like doing just basic dives, going like, okay, my toughest dive is a front 2.5. I can barely make it around to tuck, to doing like a front 3, and I had front 3, back 3, reverse 3, reverse twisters, front twisters, back twist. Like I had all this in just one summer. And then I'd worked my way up the ladder.
Athlete. You're an athlete.
Yeah, and then like within a month and a half, I had already worked my way up the ladder and started doing high diving. And then that was the part that was the scariest part, because I am, to be honest, I'm scared of heights. And but those ladders are made to go 1 foot by 1 foot. They're like, you know, 1 foot by 1 foot tri ladder, and you just kind of loop yourself in and take off the perch and move it up and move it up and move it up. And you go in like 10 foot increments to get comfortable with it. But that's what enabled me to like, I don't know, to even attempt to go that high. It's just I had to work my way up.
Did you apply some of that to snowboarding in that time?
I don't know if like, I think in like a baseline level,
Yep.
It definitely helped. As far as air awareness and stuff, and like making, I always had air awareness, but like being able to just especially during the comedy parts of the shows where you're just kind of doing whatever sometimes, like you would always just kind of like throw yourself in the air and just like, I'm going to try and find my feet or my
You have
head.
costumes on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We had dressed up as pirates or, there's a bumblebee show as well. It's called the Killer Bees.
The Killer Bees.
Killer Bees.
Killer Bees.
And then there's also like a Hatfields and McCoy, some real hick.
Do you remember your opening lines? I do.
My opening lines of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys
Yeah.
and girls.
Well, that's the announcer part, which so happens that I'm good at announcing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you could argue that I'm a better announcer than I am a diver. And so my like the diving boss would always be like, I know you hate it, but I need you, Bobby. I need you to announce the show. And I'm like, no. So yeah, but that was cool. I started doing high dives and stuff, and then the fire dive thing was interesting because I didn't start doing fire dives until
fire dives.
Yeah,
it's like
like
a name. That's the industry
like,
term.
Yeah,
Fire
it's the
dive.
industry term for it.
Fire dive is more carny
Yeah, it
style.
was more carny vibes, especially too when you hear like how those actually are performed. They are not regulated or certified, I'll say. They're like literally, I'm not joking, you're wearing 3 pairs of tube socks, white tube socks, 2 sweatpants, 2 hooded sweatshirts, and some welder's gloves, and that's all you got.
And you have to climb up that ladder.
Well,
in that
what
gear.
happens is you take the hoodie and you put it over your head, and then you tighten it as tight as you can so it cinches up into a little hole, and then you hold onto it with your teeth, the strings, so it doesn't open up again, and then you jump in the water, and then when you get out of the water, you're just soaking wet, and you weigh like twice as much as you normally weigh, and then they take a towel that has been made into a cape by some rope or string or something, and then they just soak that in gasoline in a bucket, and then as soon as you get out of the water, they take that and they put it right over your head, And then they're like, and that's it. You just turn around and you just start climbing up the ladder. And it's like all happens really fast. So you're just out of breath and you're climbing up that ladder. And it's just like.
Are the fumes like affecting you at that point?
You do. I mean, you could smell it. Yeah, obviously. But you get up to that 10 meter perch, 33 feet. And
33 feet.
It's like there's a couple ways. I mean, this. Like you said, this is carny stuff.
Yeah.
It's like very ghetto. So when I first started doing it, we used to do these things with flash cubes. Remember the old flash cameras? Yeah. You'd have these flash cubes, and you'd break them up, and you'd take the flash bulb, and you would take that and put it in a plastic baggie, and then you would put gunpowder in the plastic baggie and fill up the little tip. And then once that little bulb was in there, you would like tape the hell out of it with duct
tape. You're like
tape.
MacGyver too.
You build a bomb. Basically out of that, and then you have these little wires that stick out from the flash bulb, and so you would take that, you would make the stringer thing about this long, and then before the shows we would go up and wrap that around the ladder, and then so during the show when you were like finally got to that perch and you were just like so winded and out of breath, you like go to turn around and you're like okay, you turn around, you can't see anything, you still like you're like this, like you can't like see out of it like this, and then you go to turn around and then you go and then you give the thumbs up.
Hold your breath. You're inhaling.
Yeah, you hold your breath. You give the thumbs up downstairs with the people down there, and they take a 9-volt battery and the cable, the little wire, the radio wire that's all down there, and they go, and then at that point it goes boom and explodes, and like you just engulfed in flames.
And are you front flipping or just diving or what's I mean, you're
you
on
just
fire.
dive, dude. You can't, like the cape is so long, like it's behind you, and if you get that wrapped around you, you don't want to mess with any of that stuff. But you literally just stay up there, and depending on the way the wind blows or whatever. But for the most part, you stay up there until you can't hold your breath any longer, or it gets hot, and then you gotta go. You gotta jump.
You just jump.
Yeah, you gotta jump. But.
And how would they introduce you for that? It's like, okay, the fire dive is next.
Well, they would do, it just depended. There's all kinds of different renditions of it, but it would be basically like, all the way from the volcanoes of Hawaii comes the ultimate warrior, like type of deal. And, like, from the depths of hell comes one man, type of deal. And you'd walk out and you just wave at everybody or whatever, and then you just jump in the water, and you're just like, you don't see your face or anything. So basically, once you get ready to jump up there, it's too hot, or you can't hold your breath anymore. It's a blind jump. You just kind of you jump, and you just like you hope you're jumping straight, like you didn't turn.
And these
on
are
accident.
little pools. How deep
yeah,
are the
they're
pools?
little pools. It's like 10 feet deep.
10 feet deep.
Well, it's 9.5, give or take. But you just jump and you just fly, and then the rainbow of gas or fire just goes and all the way down into the water.
Hope you make it in the pool.
The craziest thing is,
see, right?
I mean, you can kind of see once you jump because the wind's blowing. Okay. All the wind is blowing the fire that way. But like, dude, you weigh like a sack of potatoes. You're so heavy. You just hit so hard.
Ugh.
Like it's like the most. I would rather do a high dive every single day than I would one fire dive a week. It just like.
How many times have you been fire diving?
Oh, I mean, I used to do them all the time. There were times when it was like every day. There's 5 shows a day for the most part. So like every day you're like, you got fire dive. I'll take the third.
Oh, was that
I'll
a thing?
take the 3:00 one.
You're like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'll do your high dive.
Yeah,
I'll do it. Yeah.
Was there like a crazy dude within that group of divers that was just like, I'll do the fire dive, dude?
There was a buddy of mine who used to love it. Like he used to love it. It was the guy John Smith. He was like awesome. He was so opposite from me in every way. He ended up later on in life dying from a brain cancer, but he was like just such a rad dude. He was like as innocent gets. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do anything. Like he was just like, but him and I just gelled really well, and he loved the fire dive so much. He was just his time to shine, and I was just every time I was just like, thank you, and I would just go do the high dive because he didn't high dive.
No, okay, cool.
He had done a couple, but he was just like that wasn't his thing. And so for my just fire dives, because dude, you're jumping in this water that it doesn't have a filter. there's no filter in this pool of
Oh, it
water.
get all dirty.
It's nasty. It's like so nasty.
Could you see the
Sometimes
bottom?
you can't even see the bottom.
Oh, you can't
no,
see the bottom,
no,
no.
you can't see the bottom. And the only way we would clean it too, though, our filter would go. We would go buy 4 gallons of bleach and pour the
Oh,
bleach in
God.
there. Just straight pour bleach into the
You're
water.
jumping
and,
into bleach
and all
water.
of a sudden, then it would like go from greenish black to clear. Like that was our way to do it.
Oh, that's
So,
amazing. Oh,
yeah.
God. All right. You're side acting as a carny all summer.
Pirate.
Right? Scraping the money together, living a pretty rad life. Fast forward 2002, 2003, right? You're filming the Robot Food movies.
Yep.
Yep. You mentioned, I was listening to your bomb hole, and you mentioned on there the importance of the crew when you're out filming, and the importance of the camaraderie and the people you're with. What are what's the first thing you comes to your mind when I say Chris Engelsman?
First thing that comes to mind, probably there's a flood coming. But in a good way, Chris, because I loved Chris. He was great.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, riding with Chris was, he was very serious at times.
Yeah.
And eventually ended up, I feel like, starting to enjoy it more with us. But it was like, I actually needed Chris when I first started riding when I started riding for K2, and then also when I started riding in the standard films before that. And so Chris was like really good for me as like a slap in the face, like, dude, get your shit together. Like I remember one day I didn't have a shovel. And Chris, like, we went up and we were like, all right, cool, we're going to go up into the backcountry. And I was just like, yeah, all right, cool. Should I bring a backpack? Kind of thing. And I didn't have, like, a shovel. And Chris, like, I just remember him telling me one time, he just goes, Bobby, when we get down to the hill, you're going to take your ass to REI and you're going to buy a shovel. And I was like, okay. And I did. And then after that, I was just like, all right, cool, I need to be prepared.
Yeah.
This is serious.
Yeah. You need some rope.
Yeah, it's not a joke, man. It's not a joke out there. So, I started. That's what comes to mind. Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
He got a lot of flack for the clicker days. That didn't help with
Yeah,
him, but he was such a talented snowboarder and actually a really cool person to be
cool.
around. So.
And there was others too at that time, yeah, like Travis Barker.
Yep, Travis.
Yeah.
Travis was my ultimate travel
Yeah.
companion. Yeah, we traveled the world together. It was awesome.
That's great.
And we were both just as weird and crazy as everybody. So
Jason Brown.
Yeah. Jason Brown, Rumi. Jason is complicated, but I was his roommate, and that's all I can say.
Ville.
He's a good dude.
I know. I know. Previously on a podcast, Ville told a really funny story, and you guys have a deep history.
Ville and I are like brothers in a way. Like we don't really like hang like brothers, but like we were like in a way it's like the big brother little brother, and like how we teased each other and played pranks on each other. It was like an art that we both took pride in.
Yeah.
And I know he had already said a bunch of the stuff that he had like basically talked a lot about this already. But I do want to tell one story that he omitted one time.
Omitted.
Yes.
From a podcast.
Yes. Well, he just didn't. Yeah, he failed to mention the fact that one time when we were out riding and he wanted to go do this line out in the backcountry area, and I had to sled him over there. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll split him up, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, pick me up down there, I'm like, okay, cool. It's like a flat basin area, and it's like I'm like, okay, cool. It was pretty deep that day. He does this hit, comes down, goes out into the, like, just right onto the flats and just totally stuck, right? So I roll over on the sled, pull up, and I, like, stop probably, like, I don't know, like 5 feet from him or something like that. And as he's, like, it's almost like he's, like, connecting to grab the back, but he misses the grab. And so he falls forward, face down, right in front of my snowmobile track. And I look back, and I went, and just gunned it. Dude, The snow hit him so hard in the face, it was like peeling his eyelids up above his forehead. It was just constant snow into the face. It was like the best day of my life.
Oh, poor Vile.
Yeah, but then he was very upset, and rightfully so, that he like came back and he had like a rope or something, but he was whipping me with it. I just took every bit of it, and I didn't care.
That's awesome. That's
He
good.
was so mad.
That's really, really good. This is a pretty funny one, and I've experienced this firsthand with you. Like you say, right? You traveled around the world, been everywhere, and it seems like you're always hurt or sick.
Yeah.
What's the craziest injury that you've had out there?
I think the craziest injury, and I've had a lot of them, a lot of weird ones. The first one that comes to mind, because I'm going to tell you too, was we were in Colorado, and I was out there to do an MTV thing with Travis Wood and some other guys, and I ended up hitting this. We were on our way, and we had to be there at like 12 o'clock or something like that, like to meet the cast there, and we were on our way there, and we found this super sick line off this cliff, and I was like, dude, this thing's rad. So we hit it. And
How tall?
It wasn't too crazy, like a 12-foot drop or something like that, but it was, it was pretty flat. And so it was fine though. We were like, hey, all right, cool, let's go, let's go meet at Dallas. And so we head down there, and we get there, and they're like, oh guys, sorry, we're late right now, we're running about half an hour late, can you guys just come back in about half an hour? And we're like, oh yeah, sure. And then I was like, dude, let's go hit that cliff again. It was like the worst idea of my life. We roll up to it again. I hit it.
Were you filming or just hitting
Yeah, we were
it?
filming. Actually, I might have just been taking photos because I don't remember seeing any footage of it. So I front three, and literally a front three. I like didn't get the 60 part. It was like front three to a bomb hole that was already there. And like, dude, it would happen so fast. I put my face into my knee, and basically I hit my face on my knee so hard that when I looked up, I was like, oh my God. It was so stunning that I felt like, I was like, I could see blood, and I was like, oh no. And then I felt like my lip, I could tell my lip was messed up, and my lip was like blown off. Like it was like hanging off of my face over here and over here. Like it,
How deep are you?
Split. It was in resort.
Oh, it was in resort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like just right off the off-piste. And it was hanging off, and then that was like the big thing. I was like, oh my God. So I grabbed snow, put it on my face, and was like, I got to go down. We got to go down right now. We start to head down, and while I'm riding away from this, and I'm riding, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like my knee is really starting to kill me. Like, why does my knee hurt so bad? And then
You just slammed
and
your
I
face
didn't
into your
even,
knee.
yeah, but I didn't think anything of it. And I also felt like my teeth felt weird because I was like, I feel like I got like lip skin in my teeth. Like it's so weird. I can't get my lip skin out of my teeth. And then like my foot started feeling wet, and I was like, why does my boot feel wet? And then finally I just like put two and two together, and I was like, I looked down, and I had literally
Blood.
a bite mark that was like matches exactly my teeth fine into my knee. And I ended up like my teeth basically broke off inside my knee. I chipped my femur. I have a scar that goes on my whole knee, and you can see the bite line that's like this. Perfect bite line. It fits exactly into my teeth, and then they had to like cut it open.
Shark
I spent
bite.
like 3 days in the hospital because it's an oral injury, so there's a chance of infection. But even just to put some salt on the wound while I'm in the hospital for that, and everyone's out with the MTV crew, hanging out and living their best lives. I was laying in a hospital bed, hanging out, wondering why I hadn't gone to the bathroom in 2 days, and very worried about that. So I had somebody bring me some prune juice because I was like, I didn't want to take any medication. I was like, I got to get things moving, man. Dude, I didn't know how much prune juice to drink, and I drank half a bottle of prune juice, probably this much prune juice. And I woke up in the middle of the night, like someone had took an air pump to my belly button and just kept pumping it up, just and I was just exploding. It was insane.
Like visually?
I was walking like I was pregnant, like to the bathroom. Oh my God. Like I was trying to I got like tubes hanging out of my knee, and I've got like my pregnant prune juice belly happening, and like
lips hanging off, your teeth.
My lip is just, and then so I finally get to the, do my thing in the bathroom, and that took a while, whatever, little TMI. But then, like, while I'm experiencing all this, look who shows up at my hospital bed to just rub it in a little bit more is Travis Wood and Dallas, the VJ at the time, who was like the super VJ. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just laying in here, knee up, experiencing all of my prune juice and my face blown apart. And I'm just like, okay, you guys have a good time out there, Colorado.
That's a crazy one.
That was my craziest one. And then the other time I twisted really weird on a handrail and twisted crazy and twisted my intestine and ended up basically with a blocked intestine. And this was right before I was going to Hawaii with the team trip. Yeah. And so I spent a whole week in the hospital with a blocked
you're
intestine.
In Salt Lake?
In Salt Lake, yeah. That's when I lived with Tyler
yeah.
And everyone thought, because I'm a hypochondriac, that like everyone thought I was just, Bobby being Bobby, like, sure you're sick, whatever. And I'm just like, dude, I can't even, like, please someone help me. But yeah, that one sucked. But it ended up I had to get surgery for that one. But that really wasn't. You can say that's an injury just because I think I twisted it when I was snowboarding. Yeah.
So all this, you're hitting cliffs, blowing your face up on your knee, diving into a cup on fire. Were you ever like, fuck, I'm gonna die, dude? Like, was there other like crazy moments you're like thought you were gonna die?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of those moments. And I've somehow managed to walk away from them. The two things that come to mind. One is I was actually with Ville, and we were in Aalborg at not Saint Anton, but Steuben. Mm-hmm. We were riding Steuben, and Steuben's a great mountain. It's got these like it's got like almost like a waterfall kind of vibe to it on a lot of this back area with these cliffs. And so we were in the back area of it, and we roll up on the most perfect natural, like perfect jump to a perfect landing. It was like you couldn't ask for a better like natural jump. It was like the most insane. And I rolled up it the first time, and I kind of was like way too slow, and I was like, oh my God. I like landed short, and I was just like, you guys need to film this thing. We'll come around again. And so Ville and I came back around. I'm like, Ville, once we got there, we were way up on top in this like chute, above this chute. And I'm all, Ville, dude, you got to hit this jump. Let's hit this. He's like, yeah. I'm like, take my line. And I don't know what I was thinking. I like literally, just blacked out or something. I like went as fast as I could go. Like I literally, because I came up short the first time, but I literally pointed it from in this chute and went straight, like I was going to hit like 120-foot jump or something like that. And I pointed it, and I'm not exaggerating. As soon as I left the takeoff, I'd already cleared it.
Oh.
I like cleared it.
Front flat, what was the trick?
And I was a straight air.
Oh, straight air.
And I was still going up and up, and the landing was just dropping. Oh. And I must have been like, I'm going to say, I'm pretty good with heights. I'd say about 60 feet in the air, above nothing, above like just, I mean, it's in the backcountry. So I'm just above like flat area. There's trees and rocks and all kinds of stuff. And I was just like, just flying. But I remember in the air going, this is the first I was just like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? I was like so just freaked out that I was like, I'm gonna die right here. This is it. And I just took it though. It was coming, and I just was like,
did you hot tub it? Like
yeah, I just like protected myself, landed, and dude, I made the most giant bomb hole, and I ended up. I actually celebrated getting out of it. I was like. Oh my God! I could not believe I lived through that without with
film,
nothing.
No filmers, or they're filming.
Yeah, there is a
Yeah.
film of it, but like it was so unexpected.
Yeah.
I think Jess or Pierre, one of them filmed it.
You're out of
but
frame.
It's just out of frame.
Yeah.
It's just like it was like gone. It didn't really get to see it.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
That's a crazy one.
yeah.
So,
The other one was just like a quarter pipe at a fake place. I just almost flew over this thing into concrete.
over the
and-
back of it.
Yeah, over the back of it. And I don't know how I remembered that there was like some of the wood that was like exposed, and I just like somehow, without even seeing it, with looking up like this with my board in the air, I managed to like put my arm in this railing. I have no idea. Like it
Caught yourself?
Yeah, I caught myself, and I was just hanging off this quarter pipe, like 14 feet to concrete, just like somebody's got to help me. So I'm just hanging there in Florida.
Oh, in Florida.
Yeah.
Crazy. So you're traveling the world. You're a high diver, pro snowboarder. You're really, influencing the youth and kids now, right? Because you're in the films, you're in the mags, you're doing all these things. Like, what do you hope these young kids took away from either riding with you or watching you?
Takeaway, I just say it's like snowboarding is like, there's something special about snowboarding, and it really like the freedom that it provides and the creativity and the I just think that there's like just something special about it, and especially too when you're doing it with friends.
Yeah.
And so like there's a camaraderie around it as well. And I think that like, and it's kind of sounds a little cliche to say, but like so many people nowadays are just so worried about getting sponsored and getting the clip and like making that part of it happen. And I understand it's part of it, but sometimes it's like, sometimes you have to wake up and smell the roses a little bit. Like, oh yeah, like that's what I would say probably is like appreciate it. Yeah. It's not just all about like, oh, I'm doing this or that, or hey, I've got this many followers, or really
it's the
take
journey,
the time.
Right? Too.
Yeah.
It is the snowboarding and riding, but it's the journey.
Yeah, it's the whole
there thing. And being there.
Yeah,
and the whole
and
thing.
embrace the mishaps. Like there's like literally like I always say, it's like misery makes memories in a way, and like some of my best memories are the ones that were bad, but they are like ended up turning out okay. You look back at those and you're like, man, I can't believe we lived through that. Like that was amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, I'd say like sometimes just think about like the just appreciate it.
Yeah,
because
cool.
We're one of the lucky ones.
That was a good one, and it's 2007, right? You're a professional snowboarder. And it's kind of coming to a close, not an end, but slowing down, and you fucking get hired by Nike, dude. Like, how is that transition from like being a traveling pro snowboarder, never having an office job, and now you're working at one of the biggest brands in the world?
The transition was great.
Yeah.
It was like I went from one thing to the same thing almost. It was like yes, I was working for Nike, but it was almost like I was riding for Nike, because like my job was just so awesome. I literally got hired to drive a van around it, and
The Seagull.
Yeah, no, before that
van.
it was just a van. It was like for 6.0 to drive around to skate parks and like give kids stickers and T-shirts and shoes and just skate. Like that's all I had to do.
Awesome.
I go to the mountain, pull the van up, and like go ride, and then just give kids stickers and stuff. And then I would just report back, hey, these are my insights on the stuff. And that was just like let's talk about transition. That was great.
Yeah,
a really good transition there.
Mellow transition.
But it was cool. It like enabled me, enabled my vision of the future for where I was going to go. And so, right before Nike, I actually didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had originally wanted to get into graphic design. I was like, oh, I want to be a graphic artist. But then I literally just see people, and we're kind of in a place here, but I just see people chained to their desks at all times. And like, I was like, that wouldn't be like too good for my brain, my sanity. And so I don't think I would transition well for that. And so like, I was like, well, what about marketing? Marketing could be cool, or team management to just get me into the fold. And so, and ironically, it was funny because like I actually got a call from Nemo.
Yeah.
When I was diving in, I was in Long Island doing a dive show at, I don't remember what the place is called, Wild Country or
Splash
something,
Mountain
Splash Mountain or something like that. But I got a call from Nick Sherman, and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm putting a Speedo on and a pirate suit. What do you want? I've got a show in 10 minutes." He's like, "Well, we're doing work for Nike, this new 6.0 action sports brand that they're putting together, and we think you'd be a good fit for this like grassroots marketing role." And so I was like, "Yeah, I'm in."
Yeah.
Like, so I told my diving boss, I'm like, "Hey, dude, keep the Speedos. I don't need them anymore." And the next thing I know, I was back down in Southern California, sitting down talking to Nike and traveling around and doing to events and stuff.
And that's where the Seagull came into play?
Well, yeah, because I worked for 6.0 first, and under Bastien Renard and Curtis Graham. Curtis Graham on the sports marketing side, but Bastien was really the brainchild behind the 6.0. And he's kind of ahead of his time with his vision of like, the barriers between sports are starting to break down, and kids don't care anymore about like the separations of culture because they're doing all the sports.
Right, yeah.
And so at the time everyone thought he was just a crazy French man. But he's, now we look back, you're like, oh wow, I guess kids kind of were. I mean, I still think that there's cultural differences obviously and nuances that you have to adhere to, but I think that he was spot on that. But 6.0 was not really what my goal was. My goal was to do something similar to SB if possible.
Right. Yeah,
and
2008, right? 2008 hits.
Yeah, and SB was like on fire, dude. It was like it'd been 5 years in the market already. It was like so everyone, it was hot, really hot. And I was like, man, if they could do that in snowboarding, if I could convince them to do it. But little did I know they were already thinking about that and so
yeah, 2008, right? Sandy Bodecker, right? With Michael Hernandez, John Martin, Kevin Stevenson, Steve Adams, Steve Pelletier. You guys launched Nike Snowboarding.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Yeah. I remember I went to SIA with John Martin, and my feedback coming out of there was like, they were like, "Hey, what's the feedback? You guys went on this trip. What are you at?" And I was just like, my insight for the most part was like, everybody has caught up to everyone. Like everybody is making product at the same level as everybody. And I think it's a good opportunity for Nike to come in and do something different and to elevate the product game, because right now everyone is kind of leveled at where they're at. And next thing I know, they were in. Like, and so that was great because, dude, I mean, I was sports marketing, but I was also marketing.
Yeah.
And Michael Hernandez was running the brand.
Yeah.
As like the brand manager and basically the creative director, with John as a creative director as well. And so like we had some hiccups on some of the stuff that we started out with. I mean, you remember it was like crazy. Like when we had the first kit where it was like champagne and everything, and well, at first
remember how heavy that jacket was?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But remember, there was the failure part of it. The first go at it, we came at it, and our product team in the beginning came at it in a sense of like, oh, we're super tech, we're going to be this. Yeah. It was kind of ACG vibe, and we'd already kind of went down that road in ACG. Totally. And so like, the first thing that we had done that I made sure that we did, to be honest, was to hire Justin Benny on the team. Like Benny, like
the team was amazing. The team was unreal.
I mean, we wanted people who are Nike fans, who liked the brand, who lived the culture of it. And so like Benny was like number one. Yeah. I'm like, that kid, I mean, he doesn't have to snowboard. He just can do one trick a year and he's going to get a cover and he's good, but he was like such gold. And then like Laura, just the grittiness of her, and and the rest of the team. And then when we got Danny, and then Nico, and then and then
Giggy.
Giggy,
Yeah.
and we were just like, dude, everything was just
Yeah.
perfect. It
Yeah.
was like rolling.
The team was amazing. Product was great, and it was sold in the right stores. Retailers were on point.
Yeah, and the product was amazing. I mean, it all comes down to the product at the end, right? And it truly does. It comes down to the product. Nike made better boots than everyone, and they also made sure that they were doing it in a way. It was like for the retailers. They took that approach. It's like the retailers are number one.
Yeah.
And so it really resonated with the retailers. It resonated with the Nike fans, and it resonated with consumers. And there was a really huge pushback, obviously, in the beginning of Nike getting into snowboarding. But then after a bunch of years doing it right, everyone decided, all right, cool, Nike's in. And then that's when they cut it.
So a good one, right? Like good. So here we are, right? We're in Portland, Oregon, 2025. You're the VP of Marketing and Sales for We Are Camps. You've completely brought it like full circle, and you're enabling the youth and the kids to potentially leave the life that you lived, right up at camp. How does that feel?
I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
I think, it's funny too, is like any podcast that you hear, or like any pros you talk to, or people in the industry that you talk to, specifically on East Coast, they always talk about camp, about how camp was such a big part of their decision, about an experience in their life, about the culture of it, like everything, like how big camp is. And it really is, like it truly is. It's where you're going to meet lifelong friends. It's what could potentially set the direction of your life in a way. And it has done that for tons of people. And so when I look back at my time at camp, I was never a camper. I was a guest coach for Wendell's. I used to drive like a minibus with a unicorn design on it with a bunch of screaming kids to Dairy Queen. I'm like, I got no license for this. I'm just like driving this bus up. But I had profound like impact on my life, camp did, And so, and that's just being a guest, but I can't even imagine being a kid at that time, So I think it's
and it's global too, which I thought was really cool. A lot of Japanese. And,
it's camps have been. It's been really nice to be on the other side of it now, and to like work with kids. And I do get a lot of people who are like, a lot of kids who are like, hey, can you get some advice? Like, hey, I'm graduating school. What should I do? Do you know anybody in this at this brand or that brand? But like it does set like it, you see the next generation of us.
Yeah, it's great.
It's pretty cool.
What's new up there? What do you got?
What's new? Well, we have so We Are Camps, which is basically High Cascade, Wendell's, Milepost 35 mountain bike camp, and Seek skateboarding camp. We all reside now on what used to be the Wendell's campus, which is now the academy, the Y-East Mountain Academy campus. So the Y-East Mountain Academy is action sports boarding school, high school. So kids come out there. Well, I mean, there's like 70 kids.
Yeah.
The campus is vibrant and just, a giant skate park for the most part. And that's where camps live now. So like our offices are based out of there year round. And that's where I drive to every day. But it's also a school. Yeah, and so it's kind of cool to see. Great. So like at any time, there's like 70 kids who live there walking around like it's 3 o'clock high.
That's
like,
awesome. That's cool.
It's awesome.
They get to skate every day.
Yeah, they
go
skate
snowboarding
every day.
Yeah.
And then, and the reason I said that about the school is because they are just completing a ginormous dry slope banger bag jump that they just built. They're actually yesterday. They were putting the top sheet on the landing aspect of it. So this thing is the only one in the world with a full width takeoff that is variable. It goes from 35 foot to 65 feet.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to be insane.
Cool.
It's like so.
And that'll be ready for
first
session.
It'll be ready tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, nice. You're going to hit
it? By the time this thing goes live, it's already ready.
Did you hit it? Are you going to hit it?
I don't know. I've never touched that fake snow stuff. I mean, my gut says yes.
Yeah.
But it's like it's pretty next level.
Yeah.
Like it's the only other bag like this. There's a couple of them, but like the comparable would be in Austria.
Mhm.
But this is like, I mean, it's year round.
Yeah,
you know,
cool.
and so it's gonna be great. But we
Oh.
we have those camps starting. We have camps starting in June 15th. We still have a lot of day camps available. A lot of sold out of the overnight
Cool.
camps, and no telling when this comes out. But maybe it'll start. Maybe we'll be firing by the time this comes out. I have no
Cool.
idea.
All right, I'm going into a segment called Rapid Fire. You ready?
All right.
Favorite athlete to work with?
Austin Smith.
Ooh, favorite karaoke song?
Baby Got Back.
Dun, 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 dun. Favorite place you traveled?
Europe.
Just Europe?
Yeah. Just, I'm going to be broad, but that it's hard to break it down. Yes.
All right, cilantro or cilantro?
Oh, come on, dude.
What's the hatred, dude?
I can't believe I didn't smell that. Like, that's like, what do you have it in there? Like, wrapped in garlic or something?
No.
I don't, the hatred is the
Right,
genetic
get
thing,
rid of
dude.
this stuff.
I'm one of those guys. I'm a cilantro hater. I can't stand the, I'd rather eat cat poop than put that stuff in my mouth.
Ooh,
It's
cats or
disgusting.
dogs?
I have both.
Ooh, both. Okay.
Yeah.
What's up with cat butts with you, man? We got this is your Halloween costume, and
It is legendary. I will say that. I don't know. I had a wild idea one day. I think it's funny. It comes from drawings. I used to draw. One day, I think it was like in school when I was just
Cat
like messing
butt?
around. I just drew like a. They were like, "Yeah, draw something that you see every day," and you know, I had a cat at the time or whatever, and I was just like, I just drew a cat ass and the cat butt, and it kind of was like so funny that it just kind of stuck, and I just kept drawing it, and then I used to draw it on like when I would sign posters and stuff.
oh, you draw the cat butt?
Yeah, I drew the cat butt, and then so one time like for Halloween, I just had this idea. I'm like, oh, I should be a cat butt. You could be just a butthole, like, and then tail. And then I had a friend who helped me do the butthole part.
All right, cool. All right. What's your favorite bird?
An owl. I'd say
Yeah.
an owl. Yeah.
I hear there's an owl tattoo.
Yeah, I got a pretty big one on my
Can we
chest.
see it?
No,
Take your shirt off.
no,
Come on.
no.
No.
You have to go to the county fair to see that.
All right. What snowboard are you riding?
Right now, I'm riding whatever Capita's on my feet.
Yeah, and you and Blue are pretty tight, huh? It's been
Yeah.
a big influence on your life.
Yeah, I mean, like we're kind of like I'd say it's more than like a best kind of thing. It's more of a
Yeah.
brotherly love,
Yeah.
which is great. We've just been through thick and thin together, and known for a long time. And we've
Yeah.
really connected. So
Good.
I'm really happy about his success
Yeah.
in life. He's just made such a good impact on the snowboarding world. So
Yeah, it's amazing. What will be written on your headstone?
I would say, well, I joke around with my wife that in basically my headstone's going to be shaped like a toilet, and
Like a toilet?
yeah, and this and then it'll say right on the toilet, it'll say, "This guy was the shit," and then welcome to add
I
to
love
it.
it.
You know,
You are the shit, Bobby.
or like maybe not just me, but it's just more of my I live life.
I love it.
Yeah.
So last one, and one of my kids asked me this last night, and I thought it was really, really hysterical. What's on your bucket list that you'll never do? And Poppy's answer was arson.
Arson.
Arson. Like, so what's on your bucket list but you'll never do it?
Ride a scooter.
Ride a scooter.
Yeah.
All right.
Scootering. No, I think that there's a ton of things. I really want to go to Machu Picchu,
Yeah. Okay.
but am I really going to get there? Or like the pyramids. Am I really going to get there? I'm going to try.
Yeah.
But I probably won't do it. Yeah.
What's next for Bobby? What's going on next?
Next, well, like I said, they got summer camps coming up, and and I'm right in the heat of it. I've really started to enjoy. I live in Northeast Portland. I have a nice Hansel and Gretel style house,
Nice.
Tudor house. It's like really cool, and I've really enjoyed just kind of the aspect of, which is weird. I've started to enjoy landscaping
Ooh.
and building out this little experience in my backyard. I have
Cool.
an ADU, a beautiful Airbnb, and sauna that we built, and it just the whole experience of it.
Yeah.
I really like that. And actually, to be honest, I kind of take that into camp as well. And like when I look at like when Kevin English, when we like talk about camp and how, upgrading camp or the academy or something like that, we talk a lot about that whimsical, adventurous experience
Yeah.
for
Oh,
campers.
I saw the Hobbit house, the little Hobbit cabin. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
that's not. I mean, that was a funny, dude. We
Is that
actually
in the landing or the
well,
takeoff of a jump?
it's
Or the-
AI. It's like it's
Oh.
fake.
Oh,
It's
I thought
like-
it was real.
It was April Fool's Day.
Oh. All right,
But
April Fools.
you weren't. Hey, you weren't the only one who got fooled. Actually, we had emails that people going like, "How much is it a night? How many beds? Are there a bathroom? Does it get Wi-Fi?" Like all this stuff, and we're like, "Dude, it's April 1st."
That's hysterical. Oh, well, thank you, Bobby. You truly like embody the notion of collective progression. And I know our listeners enjoyed the journey and through your life. It's a fucking Netflix special. So congrats on everything, man, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hey, for this being your first go,
Yeah.
nice work.
Oh, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm honored to be your first
Oh,
guest.
thank you, Bobby. I'm
Yeah.
honored that you're my first guest.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Bobby.
Thanks.
appreciate
I'd like
it.
to
Thank
thank Trevor and
Yes.
Nemo for helping me,
Thank you,
Along.
Trevor, as well.
for bringing
Appreciate it.
bringing my life to this point,
Awesome.
helping me get to here.
Thank you, sir. That was great. Thank you.